you know? So we put things in for different things, but we put inverters in the truck. You know what an inverter is? An inverter is, so you need electricity to run the truck to be able to run the machine. So sometimes you can plug in if there's a place to plug in, but if not, you were able to run it by itself when you have your batteries and then run the machines on its own. We put all that, so it was a self-sufficient system. When we built the trucks, every truck was built exactly the same. Told you that's the Southwest Airlines model. So all the parts that we had to order for the trucks, Randy, who did the service, it was much easier for him to service the trucks. You know, we bought tires, we bought stuff in bulk because everything was the same. So it became a lot easier. Now, everything in the truck was the same too. Same equipment, same computers, same inventory system. Not the exact same inventory because different parts of the country needed different inventory. You know, Texas needed more Chevys, Fords, pickup stuff. California needed more Audis, BMWs, things like that. So we had a computer program that had an algorithm that kind of figured out what keys you were using more. And then you would get more of those keys, and keys that you weren't less, you wouldn't replenish. So that way you wouldn't have all this overstock. That's how a company can get killed, by having too much stock. So it was a very interesting concept we did there.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned your computer guys. I assume that they developed that, or how was that developed?
Yeah, we developed it on our own. We couldn't find anything on the shelves. So I had a couple, I figured out a while back that you got to hire some young kids who are smart and bright and give them projects. You got to stay on top of them because they have no track of time, IT people. And we built this program, and, we worked out the bugs. We worked out all the stuff, so it was interesting how we did that. We had an inventory program. It's my thing. We built our own inventory program too, where we would know what's on the truck, and also you got to really understand each truck held $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 worth of inventory. A lot of money. You got to be able to know when you have 1 or 2 trucks, it's one thing. When you have 60, 70, 80 trucks out there, it becomes substantial. Right. And there's an old saying, it's not if they'll steal from you, it's how much they'll steal from you. And you always know you're going to lose some, but you try to control it. We controlled it a lot by, we would have what was called a cycle count. So every morning you got in your truck, Kyle, turn on your computer. Now, before you could work, your computer would say, check these 3 boxes. You wouldn't know what they were until that morning. And then you would go check those 3 boxes, tell us, and you'd have to scan them in. Now, you wouldn't know the right amount that you were supposed to have. We did. So you scan them in, and that number better match up with the number we had, then you could start working. They would say, it's funny, it's like a puzzle. Well, okay, you could start working. Now, if the numbers were wrong, now your regional manager would call you, and we'd go through it and see if there was if there's keys on the way, if there's a glitch, or you're missing keys. Because a lot of times, let's just jump a little, there's what's called a miscut. A miscut is when you cut a key wrong. Now you're saying, that's no big deal, right? I cut wrong. Back in the day, it wasn't a big deal because the keys were, 69 cents a dollar, those old brass keys. Now you can miscut a key. Now you're blowing $100 right there. You cut 3 or 4 more keys, you just blew into $300, $400, $500. Yeah. So we had to start controlling that. It started to be a big expense. I mean, the guys who didn't care, I had to teach them a lesson. This is a funny story. I would go to them, I'd say, hey, Ricky, what the hell's up with all these? Sorry, Bob. Oh, I'll do better, And then there'd be more and more. And then it was time for bonuses. What I would do is I'd put all their miscuts keys in a bag and mail it to them as their bonus. I go, hey, Ricky, your bonus was supposed to be $2,500, but you have $1,800 in miscuts, you're only getting $600. Trust me, next month, he didn't have that many miscuts, and he took his time and did it right. So those are just a little thing, which later on in corporate, obviously, you weren't allowed to do because, but we found our ways. We built our own inventory program. So what we did was our whole inventory we built ourselves as a program. Then we had these bagging machines where the key would come from the manufacturer, we take it out, we put it in a bag. And on the bag had a barcode, and it showed the key number and where it would go. And this changed everything because now you were not picking the wrong key as much, or you weren't making mistakes, or keys were. And then you would take the key. Let's say you knew, you put in Mazda 626, then it would go tell you it was, rack 3, B12, and then you go grab the key, take it out, whoop, scan it. It would jump, that price would tell you it's correct. It would go into your inventory, it would go on your invoice, bam, you would go cut the key. And then that, once you put it into the invoice, that would pull it out of the inventory program. Kind of cool for a bunch of dumbass locksmiths, right?
Yes, that is extremely cool.
So then that's kind of what we did with that.